Good to see you.
Oh, always good to see you. Shaun King. Man, with NFL free agency here, you're really the first person I think of in terms of we want the unvarnished truth on all of these quarterbacks, right? All of these teams are playing this like really depressing game of musical chairs as we record this, Shaun. I mean, I mean, the supply and demand problem is real at the most important position, but so I think we need the truth on if any of these quarterbacks have anything to give, Rodgers, Russ Wilson, Daniel Jones, but also on the verge of the 2024 season, we talked NFC South and a bunch of quarterbacks from Baker to Kirk Cousins to Deshaun Watson. And if folks go back and listen to that, I think your batting average is perfect in terms of insight. So, man, it is a
Thank you, man.
pleasure to welcome back Shaun King to the Go Long Pod.
I appreciate it, man. How you been? Good to see you.
Great to see you. Yeah, doing well. We're thawing out in Buffalo. I think it's going to be like 70 degrees Friday. So finally, the snow is kind of melting, which you don't have
Are
that
they
problem
moving
out
into the
there.
new stadium this year?
Yeah, so they got one more year to go at Highmark, and then they're moving into
Okay.
the new digs across
So it's
Abbott Road.
26. They're moving in. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. What's the stadium like out there, by the way?
Legion's gorgeous.
Yeah, insane. It's just you're just driving through the desert, and it looks like a spaceship in the middle of nowhere,
I
right?
mean,
That's
the
what they say.
backdrop is unbelievable. It's right there. It's got the entire Las Vegas Strip as a backdrop. So I mean, what more could you ask? Playing for the Raiders, like, got to be a destination spot for guys. Like Las Vegas is awesome.
Why don't we start there then? Because that's a team, I don't know. I don't really think about the Raiders a hell of a lot. I don't know if many people do. I mean, they kind of toggled from city to city since inception, it feels like. But I mean, I like that they have a plan. I mean, they went after Geno Smith. They pay Max Crosby. They're trying to win, which is always a good thing. I don't like when these teams just punt on seasons and figure we'll get to quarterback eventually. Like, Pete Carroll's there; they're trying to win. So why the hell not? I don't know. What was your interpretation of the Raiders' moves this past week?
Well, let me say this: Geno Smith is one of the top 10 ball spinners on the planet. And here's what I mean by that. If you show up at a park and every quarterback in the world is there, you'll notice Geno Smith. Like, he is an elite ball spinner. And I think taking him out of the inclement weather in Seattle where it gets cold, it's raining, it's gloomy, and putting him into a controlled environment like Allegiant Stadium, which is a dome, I think just upgrades him even more. So I think this is a very smart move by the Raiders. I don't love this incoming class of quarterbacks. So instead of reaching at 6, you solidify the position. Even though Geno's 35, he's still a young player from a wear and tear standpoint because he backed up Russell Wilson for years. So Pete's very familiar with him. He understands his talent and his leadership. I thought this was an excellent move for the Raiders. I think Seattle's delusional. On no planet, on no planet, no continent, anywhere is Sam Darnold better than Geno Smith. I want to be clear when I say that. And taking Sam Darnold out of the controlled environment, away from Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and an elite play caller in Kevin O'Connell, and putting him outside in Seattle without DK Metcalf and Aaron Lockett for offensive line is a recipe for. So I'm not sure what Seattle was doing, but I thought it was a brilliant move by the Raiders.
Amen, Shaun. Because I get the logic initially. If you're Seattle, in terms of okay, we can't reach this deal with Geno Smith. We're about $10 million apart, so they're thinking we move him, we get something in return, and we're not going to pay DK Metcalf because we've got this young core like Charles Cross and Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, Reek Woolen. I mean, they've got some pretty good young players. So I'm just trying to put myself into their minds, John Schneider and the Seahawks. But I don't know, man. It kind of reminds me of the Titans back when they traded AJ Brown for a first round pick because in their mind they're thinking if we pay AJ Brown, we're kind of quadrupling down on Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Taylor Lewan, and this group of Titans that has come up short. And what happens? I mean, it blows up in their face. Traylon Burks can't play, and AJ Brown wins a Super Bowl, and everybody gets fired basically. So I think sometimes it's easy to overthink and try to piece together a perfect situation where Geno Smith can sling it, and you've got a good thing going. Why mess with the good thing? Time will tell. I get it. It's not exactly apples to apples, and I really like Sam Darnold, probably more than you, but that was a really perfect situation for Sam Darnold in Minnesota, where I do think the Raiders are getting the better end of this.
And you think Sam Darnold needs protection. He really struggles when it's chaotic. And I don't know how much Seahawks football people watch, but Geno Smith's ability to stay calm when it was chaotic was elite. And throws under duress and falling back in the pocket. That's not Darnold's strength. If you look at the two games he struggled, the last game of the regular season versus Detroit, playoff game versus the Rams, it was because he was under pressure. He doesn't handle pressure effectively. And so, listen, unless Seattle's got some offensive linemen that I haven't seen that they're hiding in the facility or they're hiding across the border in Canada, it's going to be a long year for Sam Darnold next year.
Maybe you give him an idea. I mean, I don't know what the tariff situation is, but maybe if you find somebody over there. I really do like Darnold. We talked about him on this show all season long with Bob McGinn. It's like he's blowing our minds every week. He's making big time throws. They're winning. He had the rough stretch there against Jacksonville, and it looks like, oh, is it going to turn into a pumpkin? And he bounced back. But I think you do have to kind of weigh those final two games on just more heavily. I mean, everything's on the line. A number one seed is on the line against Detroit, and he looks like a different quarterback. You're in the wild card game, and he looks like a different quarterback. It was bad, and there was a lot of slop around him. I mean, the line had its injuries, had its issues. There's a reason the Vikings paid up for a guard in free agency themselves. But that's kind of the point, right? Like, it's not always going to be perfect for a quarterback. Like, there's going to be shit going down, and you need to be able to rise above it. Geno Smith with Seattle has been kind of, for the most part, rising above it. I mean, it hasn't been perfect around Geno his whole career. I mean, back to Ican and Polly slugging him in the jaw. But he has figured out a way to rise up. I guess the question is, though, and you kind of touched on it earlier, Shaun, how much really good football does Geno Smith have in him? I know he was a backup for a number of years, but still, he's getting up there in age, and I think that's probably Seattle's hesitation in getting to his number is how much. What's the next gear? What's the next level for Geno Smith?
Well, when it comes to these kind of situations, I just look at the film. And he doesn't look old when you look at the 2024 film. He looks like a guy that's in his prime that can still make all the throws, athletic enough to move the chains, can process the game at a high level. So I think they're getting a really, really good quarterback, the best quarterback the Raiders have had in years. Because I think Geno's better than Derek Carr. And of course, he's better than all the other guys the Raiders have had through the revolving door. So I'll say this last thing about Darnold. Kevin O'Connell's a pretty smart guy, right?
Oh yeah,
If Darnold was the real deal, Darnold will still be a Viking.
yeah, totally agree.
Because Minnesota's got everything else in place. So he's putting all his eggs now in JJ McCarthy's basket. So O'Connell thinks that their ceiling is higher with a second-year quarterback coming off of a season-ending injury in the preseason as a rookie than it would have been giving Sam Darnold a 2-3 year deal.
And I think that's true even aside from the financial benefits of being able to go get a Jonathan Allen and fortify the interior offense and defense. Really, they paid up for a lot of guys there. But I think even if it wasn't a money thing, that you're right, because you can't rationalize good in the absence of great. I mean, Sam Darnold isn't that much different from Kirk Cousins. You moved on from Kirk Cousins to draft J.J. McCarthy because you want to demand more out of your team, more out of your offense, more out of the most important position in sports. And I think you're right on Geno Smith. Yeah, he turns 35 in October, which might scare you. And then you look at his career. I mean, he's only played a full season or close to, like, let's say 12, 13 games qualifies, a quote unquote full season. Twice with the Jets, 3 times with Seattle. That's it. 5 seasons as a starter. That's it.
And my thing is, I look at the film. Like the film tells me Kirk Cousins is old. He's immobile now. He can't move at all. You can see his reactions is slowing down. The film tells me that Aaron Rodgers is ornery and old. Like he can't make the off-platform throws with as much regularity as he used to. You can see the frustration in his mannerisms. Like the film tells me that Russell Wilson's on the backside of his career. He's impervious to running now. He goes out of his way not to lead a pocket, yet he's not a pocket precision passer. Like, so I just go by the film. When you look at Geno's film, Geno's in his prime. I mean, he's still delivering the ball to all three levels, sideline to sideline. I think the Raiders got a steal. The only more qualified quarterback I thought that was in this group is still available. That's Jameis Winston. I'm talking to Mike Tomlin. Jameis Winston, I think, is 31, and he's in his prime. And Pittsburgh needs a Jameis Winston type at quarterback. They've tried to win with these game managers. The division is too tough. The conference is too heavy at the top at quarterback. Mike T, you need a guy that is willing to take chances, a guy that wants to be great, a guy that wants to be the reason that y'all win, not just be the reason, not the reason that y'all lost, which is how I think Russell plays the game now. You got two big giraffes at receiver now in Pickens and Metcalf. Like, I just think Jameis Winston of Pittsburgh is a perfect fit.
No, that's a take. I love it, Shaun. Like, philosophically, I totally agree. I was just talking to a Packers player about Jordan Love a couple weeks ago, and, you know, they played it safe. They handed the ball off to Josh Jacobs a lot this past season, and this is your quarterback making $55 million a year. His point was, like, don't be afraid. Don't be scared of interceptions. Like, gun the ball downfield. Call those plays. That's why you're paying him. If he throws a couple picks, he's going to be making a hell of a lot more plays if he's thinking that way, if he's unafraid, if he's fearless. So it's like, yeah, everybody loves to have a good chuckle at Jameis Winston, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. I mean, obviously, you don't want a quarterback throwing 30 picks, but I want a quarterback who is going to gun it downfield. Don't give me the guy who's terrified of his own shadow. So as people listen to this, who knows where the state of affairs is with Pittsburgh and the Giants and Aaron Rodgers. We're recording, Wednesday afternoon. But for all we know, Shaun, like Aaron is, in a cave and, doing cold plunges and taking a month to decide. I mean, he's not on anybody else's time. He's on Aaron Rodgers' time. So first of all, I want to get to Jameis, but start there with Aaron Rodgers.
Let me speak on this because you said 30 and 30. What nobody talks about with Jameis, the kid has thrown for 24,000 yards and 154 touchdowns in his career. Like, this is a guy that has been uber productive in this league. Like, he was on a pace that year he started in New Orleans with Sean Payton to be great, and he tore his ACL. I think the Saints were like 4-1 or something. Then he come back the next year and he had the back injury, but he's elite. And here's the problem with Aaron Rodgers, and you just alluded to it. Football's a team sport. Rodgers is like one of the elderly people at your local nursing home. Like, he don't have a filter. He gonna do what the hell he want to do, whatever that is, and he on his own schedule. Like, you got that one dude at the nursing home, like everybody else is out there sitting in the common room, and he in his room like doing his password puzzle. That's Aaron Rodgers. He's probably not gonna be at OTAs. He's gonna want to do Pat McAfee show weekly during the year. Like, so it's not just the fact that I think his skills have diminished, which that's not a knock. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but as we get older, our skills diminish. But I don't think Aaron's a team player in 2025. He wants to play for a team, but he wants to do what the hell Aaron wants to do.
We just saw it. We just saw it with the New York Jets. You had Woody Johnson, Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh talking themselves into giving him everything. I mean, that's what it's. We shouldn't have to say it, right, Shaun? Like, everybody should have seen it with their own eyes. But Nathaniel Hackett, off of one of the worst coaching performances offensively, I don't know, ever, at least this century, is named the offensive coordinator to lure Aaron Rodgers. You sign Alan Lazard, $44 million over 4 years. You bring in the decaying corpse of Randall Cobb. He shouldn't even be in the NFL. Probably shouldn't be in the UFL at that point. I mean, Billy Turner, anybody he wanted, he got. Autonomy at the line of scrimmage, autonomy in the hallways behind the scenes, and it blows up in spectacular fashion. Obviously starts with the torn Achilles, but which that was his whole thing. He found a way to stay in the headlines in 2023, gets healthy, gets into 2024, gets Devontae Adams, gets Robert Saleh fired, and everything still blows up. And I don't even want to look at the numbers. We got to use our own eyeballs. Those stats are so deceiving. Physically, he wasn't the same quarterback. He cannot make those plays that his body wants to. He admitted it himself. The interview with Kyle Brandt stands out. He's fighting father time, and it's a stalemate. That was early in the season where he said that. So I don't know why. I mean, it just reeks of desperation for the Giants and the Steelers to be on his clock, his timeline, begging and praying and hoping that he'll be their quarterback when you do have other options. Like Jameis has his knocks, but I'm with you. I would take a Jameis Winston over Aaron Rodgers. I'd take Jake Browning. I'd trade for the Bengals backup quarterback. Teams got to think creatively. I don't know why everybody's kind of pigeonholing themselves to Russ Wilson, Aaron Rodgers.
And Tyler, I want to put some context on what I said about Rodgers not participating too, because sometimes people get in the comments and I don't think they fully understand. As we sit here, what's today's date? Today is March the 12th. The offseason schedule for all 32 teams has already been given to all of their players. So the players know when OTAs are. They know when minicamp is. They know when training camp starts. So if you're going to go on vacation, if you've got stuff going on, then schedule it around those dates. Like, it's no reason for your starting quarterback not to be, and this is a message to Lamar Jackson, too, who I didn't like last year, that he didn't show up to one of the OT. Listen, you need to be there. You're the starting quarterback. You're the gas that makes the engine go. Like, there's nothing more important in your offseason than being there with your teammates, getting better. You don't got to live in the city. You can go have one guy from a strength and conditioning standpoint, but the team activities, OTAs, mini camps, training camp, the starting quarterback needs to be there.
Totally agree, and I wish we got to disagree on something, Shaun. But it's true. Look at Patrick Mahomes. What did he do when the Chiefs kind of turned the page on? I think this is back to Tyreek Hill, and they kind of move on from what they were offensively. They're bringing in all these new receivers. Like, he's getting together with them down in Tyler, Texas. I mean, he takes it a step beyond OTAs. Like, if you give a shit, if you care, if you really do believe what you're saying. Aaron Rodgers says all of the right things. He did in Green Bay. He did in New York. He will in Pittsburgh, New York, with the Giants, wherever he goes. But you got to back it up with action. And I don't know. I think, like, if he has a market, which I guess we believe he has a market with how it's been
absolutely
reported,
has a market. He absolutely has a market.
Then maybe he does have to say. Maybe he's telling these teams, I want to do what I want to do.
He's going to get everybody fired wherever he goes. Outside of Pittsburgh, because they don't fire the coach.
Right. So let's bring it to Pittsburgh then, Shaun. So you reached out to Mike Tomlin personally.
Absolutely.
Take us through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just texted him my opinions on Jameis. I hope you don't have me on block because he didn't respond, but I did send the text. I didn't get a response. Shout out to my frat brother, Mike Tomlin. Hey, Newt, hit me back, man. Let me know you got the text. I just think, as great of a coach as Mike Tomlin is, his one legitimate flaw is, and it's not his fault because he's a defensive guy. He has failed, and the organization has failed at properly evaluating the quarterback position. To Ben Roethlisberger being way over the hill his last 2 years, to the Mason Rudolph experiment, to the Mitch Trubisky experiment, to the Kenny Pickett. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Even now, you got such a low ceiling with Russ in the AFC. Like, Russ just does not have the ability to go toe-to-toe with Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Like, all the teams that you're going to have to beat to get to a Super Bowl.
Right.
So you got to, in my opinion, upgrade that position from a talent standpoint. I think if you go into the season with Russ, you're just going to be what you've been, which is a really, really rock solid organization that has no chance at winning the championship as it's currently constructed.
If that's his one flaw, it's a massive flaw. I mean, it is different in Pittsburgh when you walk into that locker room and you speak to players on both sides of the ball. Back to like 2015, 2016, I think is when I kind of started making my way down there when I was at Bleacher Report and talking to the Vince Williamses of the world. I mean, they had some gnarly effing dudes that wanted to smack you. James Harrison's walking around and I mean, it looks like he just might cold cocky if you look at him wrong. I mean, it's all a product of the environment. It's what football should be in every sense of the word. He gets it. And it's such a tough needle to thread to hold guys accountable, yet also be a player's coach. It's like whatever coach tries to be is Mike Tomlin personified. Like guys know they can go in his room anytime, but they don't want to piss him off. And Cam Hayward always tells a great story of, at his rookie year, Mike's throwing him up on the projector screen, lighting his ass up in front of the whole team. Like it's real, but what a blind spot, man. You hung on to Ben too long. Kenny Pickett, Rudolph, just like everything you said. And so you're stuck. You're stuck. I mean, if not Rodgers, if not Russ, what do you do if you're Pittsburgh right now?
I'm going Jameis. And listen, Mike Tomlin is one of the top 4 head coaches in the world. Problem is, unlike Andy Reid, unlike Sean McVay, unlike Harbaugh, he hasn't gotten the quarterback right. That's the only difference between Mike T and Pittsburgh having probably 2-3 more championships. They don't evaluate that position efficiently. Because what's the guy from Oklahoma that they initially thought was going to replace Roethlisberger? It was him, Roethlisberger, and Bruce Gronkowski on the team. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He played at Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, Landry Jones.
Initially, it was Landry Jones, right. And it was Mason Rudolph, then it was Mitch Trubisky, then Kenny Pickett. It's been bad eval after bad eval.
Yeah. How is that even possible, right? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're as good of a football coach as Mike Tomlin, I mean, look, right, his specialty is stopping this position, stopping this player, schematically figuring out a way to get inside of your head and turn you into a worse quarterback. Why does a coach like that, who may be in the Hall of Fame, should be in the Hall of Fame, how can he whiff so badly at quarterback himself with his own team?
I mean, we're seeing it. Listen, Jameis Winston would be the most talented quarterback Pittsburgh's had since Ben Roethlisberger. 100%.
Have you seen anything like this though with Tomlin? Like, have you seen a coach, through your time in the league and studying the league, who was such a good coach, yet so bad when it came to evaluating quarterbacks?
I don't think Mike T is necessarily bad at it as much as he defers. And the people he's deferred to at that position haven't been good at evaluating quarterback.
So Jameis, you're all in.
All in. Perfect fit. He's familiar with the division after being in Cleveland. Listen, I'd rather say woe than sick him, Tyler. Yeah. Right now with Russell, you got to say sick him. Like, Russ, please consistently take some chances. Take some shots, Russ. How many times have you watched the Steelers and Russ is back there pump faking, and then he takes a sack or he throws the ball away? Like, Mike T, listen to me. Get that gunslinger that won a national title in college, that's known for 24,000 yards and 154 touchdowns, and give you guys a chance to compete against the elites in the AFC.
Even with that 30 interception season, you're right, Shaun. He's thrown 154 touchdowns to 111
picks. Yeah, people act like that's just that 1 year. Jameis has been super productive when given a chance. Like, he's an elite ball spinner. He's a big pocket guy that has functional mobility. Like, I'm saying, all his teammates love him.
Yeah.
Like, can he tone back some of the antics? In my opinion, yes. But again, I'd rather say woe to Jameis than have to convince Russ to smile.
He's talking about authentic versus is fake maybe a little strong when it comes to Russell Wilson, but maybe not far off?
I just think Russ lives in a bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, fake isn't the word, but that because that's who he is, right?
Yeah, I
I
just
don't.
think he lives in
He's
a
not
bubble.
selling something. That's who he is. Unrelatable, maybe, right? To teammates in that locker room, where Jameis is one
I
of the
think he's
guys.
tone deaf. I just think he's tone deaf. I think he's tone deaf, Tyler. I just think he lives in his bubble. He's comfortable. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. Like if football was taken away from Russ, nothing in their life would change. Like, and he lives in that bubble. Like I would take the iPad away from Russ. I can't stand. He has 3 bad series in a row. The first thing he does is go and put his face in that iPad.
Yeah.
That's the biggest crutch quarterbacks got now. No, Russ, get on this phone and let me smooth give you these 4-letter adjectives I got for you.
Oh my God. It's like when you go to Starbucks and get a coffee with your fam, or you're just sitting there, or even like Ella's has dance every Tuesday night, our daughter, and you're in that waiting room with the parents, and some of the parents in there just give the iPad to their kid and they're on their phone. And I want to just go up to the parent first, take their phone, smash it against the wall, and then take that iPad from the child and drop it in the trash. That's Russ Wilson. You just want to take that away, shake him and be like, live in the real world, man. Come on, let's go. Real emotion.
So Mike Tomlin's my fraternity brother. Shout out to all the newts out there. And Omar Khan, the GM, actually went to Tulane with us.
Ah,
So hopefully one of them listens. Go pick up Jameis Winston. Steelers, please. Thank
hey,
me
he
later.
did he did throw for 5,000 yards that season, and he did in 2021 with the Saints 2 years later go 5-2, 14 touchdowns, 3 picks, looked good. Then he only started three
So
games that next year. None,
he
spot
got hurt
duty
again.
filling in the next year. Got hurt again. You're right. And I know he went 2-5 with the Browns. It's what do you make of last season with Cleveland? Because it was a
He
mess
gave
on many
hope.
layers.
He gave hope to a team that had given up on the season. People forget Jameis took over after they traded Amari Cooper. Like after people knew that Nick Chubb wasn't Nick Chubb. The defense had he invigorated hope in a team that had none. He made the Browns worth watching. And I'm not gonna blame him for his late game interceptions when he's out there still competing.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
right.
it's crazy because some players get these narratives and people just go with them. And if they don't get a chance to outperform and outplay them, then the narratives never change. Think about Steph Curry after year 2. Steph was somebody people thought could never stay healthy. Ankle injuries always kept him out. That was the narrative on his career. And all of a sudden, the ankles are good. Now, if he wins this year, he on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion. He'll have 5 titles, one more than Bron. He'll have did it all at Golden State. I think Jameis, I'm not saying he's Steph Curry, but I think put him in a situation like Pittsburgh, make him the day one starter, or let him compete with Russ. I'm fully confident he'll beat Russ out. But on a team like Pittsburgh that's got everything but explosive quarterback play,
Yeah,
when's he been in that situation? God could have came down from heaven and the Browns were not going to win games last year. They just weren't a good team offensively. They had Jerry Jeudy and nothing. And I know Njoku plays for them. Njoku might be the worst route running tight end of anybody in the league. Now, he's big and he can make contested catches, but his routes are terrible. Then nobody even knew Jerry Jeudy was that good until who got the quarterback?
Jameis Winston.
Jameis. They were calling Jerry Jeudy a bust in Denver. They were calling Jerry Jeudy a bust in Cleveland until who became the starter? Jameis Winston. Now, all of a sudden, Jerry Jeudy's a legit number 1. I'm telling you, Tomlin, bring in Jameis. You'll see a side of George Pickens you've never saw. DK will be reinvigorated. It makes too much sense not to happen, Tyler.
Because we can sit here, Shaun, and stare at, like I just was a few moments ago, stare at Jameis Winston's numbers and talk yourself into to giving him a chance because of those. There's something about him, though, beyond the numbers, even beyond these highlights that you do see on film. Guys like him. Guys want to play for him. that stuff matters in pro football. Like especially at the quarterback position, you've got to find a way to get guys to rally around you. And he's got that it to him. Now, I think if you're Mike Tomlin, I guess you just have to somehow get yourself to a place of I'm a defensive coach because that's his thing. He wants to muck games up. He wants to win with a blocked punt, a TJ Watt, tipped interception to somebody. Like they win games in these funky, disgusting ways. And when you're winning games that way, you just want a quarterback who's not going to F up, who's going to take care of the ball. So it's got to be really hard for Mike Tomlin to get to that place of, okay, all in on Jameis, balls to the wall. But if you haven't won a playoff game since 2016, why not take that chance? I think that's what you're saying.
Yes, and you have to know your environment. The quarterback play in your division and in that conference is elite. So you're not going to be able to hold Jones and Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. You're not going to be able to hold those guys to under 20 points.
Right.
Like you're going to have to be explosive yourself. You're going to have to create, explosive plays. You're not going to be able to put 10-play drives together in the playoffs consistently. It's just not. It's not going to happen. So hopefully they'll change. I mean, I'm screaming it from the mountaintops. Maybe they'll listen. Maybe they won't. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you have to come to grips with it's a different NFL than the one that existed in 2008 when you won a Super Bowl against Arizona, which it's hilarious watching that game, Shaun. Like, I think it's the first drive of the game. Pittsburgh goes down the field, and I think Roethlisberger even had a touchdown called back. They're at like the 2-inch line. They're right there on the goal line, and it's a chip shot field goal. They just settle for the 19-yard field goal, 18-yard field goal. And nobody back then really thinks much of it. But the game has changed so much where obviously every team is going for it now. And I'm not saying Mike Tomlin would still kick that field goal, but he has maybe been a little slower to evolve than what you'd like to see. Which
I wouldn't put that on him. I never think you necessarily have to chase points early in games. So I'm comfortable with kicking the field goal and getting the points. But they need elite quarterback play. They need elite talent at the quarterback position. Like, that's what they haven't had. Like, nobody can question that Jameis is an elite talent at quarterback.
Right. He is. All right, let's get to some other quarterbacks while we have you, though, Shaun. Like, I can't believe that Daniel Jones is getting $14 million to compete for a starting spot in Indianapolis. I mean, what am I missing here? He was just with one of the best quarterback teachers, coaches, Brian Dable and Malik Neighbors, and we all saw his ceiling. It was very low. How is he getting this opportunity? I get it, supply and demand, but I'm shocked that everybody just kind of assumes, oh yeah, Daniel Jones, fresh team, fresh environment, maybe the lights turn on. It's not Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold kind of milled around as a backup and then got with Kyle Shanahan for a year, and very different situations. I don't know. I want your take on all things Daniel Jones right now.
So I'm not a huge Daniel Jones fan, but when it comes to compensation, the market is the market. So I never really get into, like, is a player worth this or that? Because if somebody's willing to pay it, then you're worth it. And I look at it like, if the owners can afford to pay all these guys all this money, how much money are they making?
My point is they're paying him to compete for the job, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't win it.
And I was getting to that, and I was like, even though I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Jones, this is a perfect fit. Because Shane Steichen wants to run an offense similar to what Sirianni is running in Philly. That's where Steichen was at. He was the OC of the Super Bowl team that lost to the Chiefs a couple years ago. So Daniel Jones' skill set is very similar to Anthony Richardson's skill set. So unlike when Joe Flacco was the backup, he doesn't have to change the offense when Flacco comes in the game. He wants to run zone read. He wants to be a tush-push guy. Like, he wants to run the quarterback. So Daniel Jones is a really, really good athlete for the quarterback position. So the skill set makes sense because now he only has to, run one system because both quarterbacks have the skills to run the system. Now, can they become consistent ball spinners? That's kind of been both of their problems. Slow decision making, inaccurate throws, untimely turnovers. Like, so we'll see. I think they got a clone. I think Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones are very similar as to how I evaluate both of them. Really, really good athletes that struggle to consistently make the right decision and locate the football when it comes to the passing game.
So everybody, buy your Indianapolis Colts season tickets now. That if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. So
Hey,
depressing. So depressing, man. This
we'll
isn't
see
the
if it
way Chris
works.
Ballard drew it up a decade in as GM.
but
But you know what? Like if Anthony
but let,
Richardson,
but let me say this: Anthony Richardson should have went back to Florida.
yeah,
And remember, I said a lot of teams struggle to evaluate the quarterback position. And I remember I was on VSiN and I was on the show with Tim Murray. And I said, listen, Anthony Richardson, this was like right when he declared. And we were talking about the combine. So this was before the combine. I said, listen, Anthony Richardson is going to go to the combine. He's going to measure 6'4" taller. He's going to run sub 4.4. He's going to throw the ball 80 yards, and he's going to go do a backflip at 6'4", 240 pounds, and somebody's going to fall in love with him. And I'll be damned, go back and watch the combine highlights. That exact thing happened, and the Colts forgot about what they saw on film because there's nothing he did in Florida consistently that said he should have been a top 10 pick. But when you take him that high, the expectations come along with that. The fan base does not have patience. They're expecting an immediate fix. They're thinking this is C.J. Stroud. This is Jaden Daniels. Like they're expecting these rookies that are drafted high to come in and just be great right off the bat. He's been injured throughout Indianapolis. Go back and look at his Florida career. Injured. Half the time he was in Florida. Like, so all of these things were predictable because that's what the film showed. So he was overdrafted, and because of that, he's reaping the consequences now. It seemed good on draft day, but now he's seeing the other side of being drafted that high.
he is the ultimate byproduct of the absurd draft
Shorts.
coverage. Yeah, right. I mean, right, because the combine's been around forever. You know, back to Mike Mamula, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we've always gotten excited about somebody in shorts, but now more than ever with social media, with the wall to wall coverage, with everybody armchair GM in this thing, it's easy. I've fallen victim to it. We all have. Just sit there, pull up a highlight clip, hell, pull up a full game of Anthony Richardson and get jacked up, get excited. Oh my God, take this athlete with that coach and this offense. I mean, Shane Steichen, you just mentioned it with Jalen Hurts. Like it made so much sense, but I guess that's why you really got to investigate and scout and grill these guys and be self-critical because if he doesn't win the job, Shaun, like if Anthony Richardson doesn't beat out Daniel Jones in training camp, how do Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, how does anybody in that building justify their existence beyond this year? I
And
don't know.
Anthony hadn't helped us, and he hadn't helped himself. Remember last year he pulled himself out the game. Somebody was tired. Like again,
Brutal.
when you're drafted that high, entitlement comes with that draft selection. If you look at the Florida film, Anthony Richardson is the exact quarterback he showed on film. And here's where evaluators get in trouble when it comes to this position. They look at the great things a guy does, or they look at the worst thing a guy does. I look at what a guy does most of the time. I don't fall in love with the ceiling. I don't fall out of love with the floor. I want most of the time when he's playing quarterback, what is. And Anthony Richardson, most of the time he played quarterback when he was available, was a great athlete that is very inaccurate throwing the football. That's what he was in Florida. That's
So
what he
I'm
is.
sorry, go ahead.
Jalen Hurts is a little different because of the amount of football Jalen played in college. Anthony didn't play a lot of football. Jalen kind of got to work through his problems in a high pressure cooker situation in Alabama, and then in a high pressure cooker situation in Oklahoma. Like, so you've seen him in high pressure situations figure it out. And I still think Jalen Hurts is a work in progress.
Which I want to get your perspective on that. But you're right in terms of college experience and work ethic. Everything you hear about Jalen Hurts, I can't envision him tapping out of a game for a play. I mean, when you played, Shaun, did anybody do that at the quarterback position? Like, I've never heard of that. No.
But when nobody around you teaches you or holds you accountable, and this is what I mean, if nobody around you has been through it and can teach you, lead you, okay, this is what you're about to walk into. In my opinion, like if I knew Anthony Richardson, I would have said, hey man, look, let's get on our knees and pray. Because you shouldn't have been drafted that high. And when you get to the city and you walk in a room, because of your physical stature, people are going to anoint you. But we got a lot of work to do, big dog. Like we got to create some muscle memory that will allow us to sustain effective quarterback play in chaotic situations. And he doesn't have that. He's never been trained to be fundamentally sound. He's never been held accountable with making quick decisions and throwing the ball accurately. He's one of those guys that will make a 40-yard run that probably only a couple guys on the planet can make, but then throw the ball in the dirt to a wide open running back in the flat. And nobody's ever held him accountable for that. Like he's a guy, the dig route is open. And if he throws it accurately on time, it's a touchdown. But the guy has to jump up and catch a ball that's behind him. And nobody's held him accountable. And so now you get to an NFL team and they got expectations and you're not ready for the accountability that comes with that spotlight. You know, now what happens? Now people are saying you suck. The same people that said you're going to be the next great one. Okay, we got our next Peyton Manning, our next Andrew Luck. When in reality, his eval is not even close to those two guys.
Where does Anthony Richardson's career go, Shaun? I mean, how does this end?
It's up to him. He's got the ability. He got to put the work in. I would love to spend 2 months with him and kind of explain why, and then explain how, and then go out and put the work in. He's got to go back to ground one. He's got to go back to creating a fundamentally sound base when he throws the ball. He's got this weirdo throwing motion that some quarterback coaches taught him, where he kind of has this no torque sidearm, 3/4 more so release, and you can't consistently locate the football when you throw it like that. You can't.
Just wonder if it's too late, right? Like, can you just become a hard worker who's committed to fixing these problems?
I think he works hard, but I don't think he works smartly. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm saying I know he's never been held accountable to the intricate details of playing the quarterback position because he's always been so talented. And there are 32 teams in the world, right? NFL, there's only 32 of these companies in the world. NFL has no competition. CFL is not competition. XFL, there's no other country that plays the game of American football on the level. Less than half of those 32 companies have anybody in the building that's ever developed a quarterback. The majority of these quarterback coaches in 2025 are friends of the OC. So the OC, the main thing that he's worried about is what's being said in the quarterback room. Is the system being taught in the same way I would teach it to the quarterbacks? At no point is it, I better get somebody in there who can actually develop the room. I'm telling you, go look at the list of guys that hold a quarterback position. Less than half of them have ever developed a quarterback. And that, I mean, gotten a kid that's a raw talent and turned him into an effective player at the position.
What's the biggest key to developing a quarterback, in your opinion?
Knowing, knowledge, understanding what creates consistency at the position. And that has nothing to do with X's and O's. That's fundamentals. That's muscle memory. That's attention to detail. Those are the things that go unnoticed. It's not going on YouTube, oh, that drill looks cool, let me do it. It's why am I doing that drill? Can you correlate it to something that the quarterback is asked to do? Like I had a rule, like I wouldn't let my quarterback throw any off-platform throws until they could go through routes on air and throw the ball effectively and not have an incompletion and do it fundamentally correct. But if you go, I'm telling you, you can look at Anthony Richardson. You can look at some of these young guys when they're warming up because they let the media in before practice, right? And watch them. They are throwing the ball side on. They're throwing the ball falling backwards. And these are guys who can't hit the broad side of a barn when the fullback's wide open in the flat.
And you can get it. Like Josh Allen had those same type of incompletions in practice as a rookie with the Bills, and they're shared on Twitter, and everybody laughs, and everybody says he's trash, and now he's the richest player in NFL history in terms of guaranteed money. So you can get to that place. It just I laugh because it reminds me of like seventh grade basketball when you're shooting around before a game and you just start jacking up like half court shots because it's fun. And your
Right.
coach says, what are you doing that for? Like, let's
Like
work on our layup line here. That's the
you, you
same
shooting
thing.
you shooting 62% from the free throw line and you're working on logo threes.
Yeah.
100% correct. And I'm telling you, young quarterbacks, here's where it pops up. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I hate Lamar's fundamentals.
Hmm.
Lamar unnecessarily throws off platform way too much. And you know where? Playoff game at Buffalo. Mark Andrews. That ball's supposed to be in the face mask of Mark Andrews. He throws it side on for no reason. That ball is losing velocity. It's behind Andrews. Should Andrews catch it? Probably yes. Did Lamar make it a very difficult catch? Absolutely, because his fundamentals were not sound. And to your young quarterbacks, I'm just telling you, it's going to bite you in the butt. It bit Patrick Mahomes in that butt for the first time this year.
I'm glad you brought up that Lamar throw because I mean Mark Andrews was instantly crucified for that drop. And I mean the mistake before that's even worse. When Terrell Bernard punches it out. But I had the same kind of reaction. I felt like Lamar Jackson didn't get enough heat because he's got to get that out quicker. Like he just waited for some reason, and then he's got to catch the ball. But something as nuanced as that, as detailed as that, as just being a little off rhythm will cost you in a playoff moment, even when you're an MVP candidate like Lamar Jackson. That's such an excellent point, Shaun.
And if you go back to the greats, the recent greats, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all elite fundamentally. Like, go watch them. Elite fundamentally. These guys, I think all three of them are top 10 passing yardage career-wise, I think. And watch how many off-platform throws they make. It's less than 5% of their throws. But people have figured out that you can monetize youth athletics. And so now these bootleg quarterback coaches everywhere are teaching these kids, sidearm throws and throwing the ball behind the back, and they can't throw routes on air accurately. Like it's really, really doing a detriment to the position. And that's why when you watch games on Sundays, so many of these guys are still unfinished products.
You're right. It's a whole cottage industry. There's a ton of quarterback coaches out there. There's some good ones too. And who is like a good who does it right out there? We've talked to a bunch, but is there one of these quarterback
So
coaches?
I'm not gonna name anybody because I don't want to leave anybody out. And there are some good ones out there. But listen, quarterbacks, if you can't throw routes on there and throw every ball accurately on time in rhythm, you got no business throwing the ball off the platform, period. But this RPO, this screen game systems that have kind of gone from college to the pros, oh, I gotta, flick the ball out their sidearm. This it frustrates me.
Can you while we have you here, Shaun, I mean, what is something that you loved the first 72 hours of free agency and something you hated? A lot of money getting thrown around.
Well, the Patriots spent, didn't they? They had the most to spend. I think they spent all of it.
Yeah. A lot of Vrabel kind of pickups there.
Like, I love that because the Patriots are known to be super conservative, kind of build through the draft. They've never been like a huge free agent, participator. So just to see them just throwing caution to the wind, I mean, good God almighty. The thing I hated, Man, what is going on in Dallas, man? What is going on in Dallas? Like here's what's so crazy. Jerry Jones has to be like one of the 10 most brilliant businessmen in the world. Like from when he purchased the Cowboys, it was 140 or 50 million, they're
Mm-hmm.
worth 10 billion, to going out to Frisco when nobody was in Frisco, creating that whole city basically, of which he owns a large part, to saving the Allegiant Stadium dealers. When Addison, pulled out, like he's a brilliant businessman, but his gift is his curse. He just can't fathom in business and not be able to put together a Super Bowl caliber team in football.
Yeah. Well,
As many
it's
holes as the
strange.
Cowboys have they signed anybody in free agency? I mean, of significance?
Well, you know what's crazy is it's like, yeah, they're the richest sports franchise in the world, yet this goes back X number of years. The edict has always been to be a bottom feeder in free agency. Like we've talked to people in that building who said, I think it's more Steven than Jerry. Steven's got a lot of power there now, and he doesn't want to get caught up in dead money. He doesn't want to pay people not to work, and they think they're going to be like the best negotiators too when it came to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. It's like, just if you believe in him at all, pay him, because that price is only going to go up. And then once you pay him, that means you're all in, using their words, not mine. And if you're all in, actually get players that can maximize the Super Bowl window. And they won 12 games in a season 3 years in a row. But they didn't have the depth, right? Like a couple injuries, and you don't have those players that can fill in because you're unwilling to spend. Like Dallas and Cincinnati in the same position, yet their ownership could not be any more different. It's wild to me.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to say this. This is to the players' union. They've got to amend the CBA. It is unlawful, in my opinion, that a player can be denied free agency 2 years in a row with these franchise tags.
Oh yeah.
Like what the Bengals are doing to T. Higgins is criminal. And I get it. They're utilizing the system. So I'm not saying they don't have the right, but I'm saying the players' union, the CBA needs to be amended. A player should not be able to be franchise tagged more than once. Like when you're a kid, your number one dream is to make the NFL if you're in football. Once you make the NFL, your number one dream is to be a wanted asset in free agency. Like you work your whole life to get to the league, and then when you get to the league, you just want to be a valued asset in free agency and let the market determine what you're worth. And they've denied T. Higgins this 2 years in a row. That's criminal.
The franchise tag has been a farce since its inception, right? Like it's been BS since then. It's such an oxymoron. Like nobody likes it. Everybody hates it. You're taking a player's rights away. But I'm with you. Like I don't understand. I've talked to players about it, agents about it. Everybody hates it. So when you're at that bargaining table, do something about it then, right? Like don't just bitch about it. Change it. Do
All right.
something about it.
And more players need to speak up publicly. I mean, it's criminal.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are going to say, well, he gets the top five average, man, listen, it's the guaranteed money, it's the long term security. Like somebody would have paid T. Higgins, I guarantee T. Higgins would have been, I'm going to say, a 30 million per year guy if he was actually a free agency right now.
Well, that's
I
what
truly,
DK
I
Metcalf
truly
got.
believe that. Yep, I truly believe that. He's going to get what, I think T is even a little younger than Metcalf,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, because Metcalf is on his second extension. And I think T. Higgins is still on his rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. And I'm trying to get the guaranteed money on DK. It was 5 years, 150. Who
Which,
knows how much of that he'll see, but
but that's 30. What do you get? 90 guaranteed?
is that what it was? Man,
I think it was. I think DK right, and so T's getting that. That's his floor to me.
and that's what he's being denied. That's why he's pissed off, as he should be.
Right. So now the 23 that he's getting in franchise or whatever, that don't look so good now when you put it in that context. Because he could very easily, and God forbid, go out there and have some like debilitating injury. And now he is free agency. He's not the valuable asset he was. So, like, I like these guys when they have this kind of leverage, to have the opportunity to go out, and realize the benefits of it. So,
Right now, the only leverage a lot of these players have when they think they deserve more money is to unfollow the team on Instagram and be cryptic. That's it.
because Tyler, listen, stuff changes, man. Cooper Cup's a perfect example. 2 years ago, Cooper Cup was he Super Bowl MVP or was it Stafford?
I think Cup. Yeah, I mean he had 1,900 yards. He's the best
I know
player
he's
on the team.
Offensive Player of the Year, but I forgot who it was. Did he win the MVP in the Super Bowl game? Did
Yeah,
they beat the Bengals? Okay, so 2 years ago, Cup was Super Bowl MVP.
yeah.
Now Cup couldn't even fetch a draft or trade. 2 years later,
You're right. Life happens
like so, I'm just
fast.
saying when you hot, like you got to get it because you just don't know. 2 years from now, you might not be hot. Like the Rams wanted to trade Cooper Cup and could get no takers, so now they're gonna have to cut him. This is a Super Bowl MVP 2 years ago, but he's battled injuries. People not sure he can stay healthy, so now his value is diminished. So T. Higgins could very easily end up being in the same situation. Hopefully not, because I want him to get paid.
James Cook, same thing here in Buffalo. I mean, that's why he's very public with wanting 15 mil a year. Yeah, he's only played for a few years, but now you're talking about even an even more disposable position. Hell yeah, he's going to want to get paid and maximize a career year as he should. The Bills should pay him
Here's
too.
here's what hurts. What again? The market's the market. So my evaluation doesn't mean anything when it comes to free agency because I don't have a team, so I can't write you a check. But I think what hurt Cook this past year was the fact that they subbed him out on third downs.
Right.
I thought they did a huge disservice to him because it makes it look like one, he's not good in pass protection, and two, he's not effective catching the ball out of the backfield. Because it's very surprising to me that they would sub him out on third downs a lot.
And even though he played 48% of the snaps, I don't know. I feel like we can sit around and we can make love to analytics, or we can use our eyes and watch the games and see that the Bills with Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Frank Gore before. I mean, they were one offense with those kind of running backs, and they transformed into this offense that had 30 plus passing touchdowns, 30 plus rushing touchdowns, the first in NFL history, an offensive line that's actually kicking some ass. And guess what? You don't really have a premier wide receiver. Like that player doesn't really exist now. James Cook is your star around Josh Allen on the ground, through the air. They're dynamic with him. I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer, even with a couple years left on his deal, just to pay him. The
Here's what
prices, somebody will pay him when it's time.
yeah, here's what stinks for Cook. It's a really deep running back draft. Really talented, really deep. So as an organization, you're like, we don't gotta pay him. We definitely don't think he's worth what he's asking for. And by the way, have you seen this incoming class of running backs? Like, that's what's said in the meetings. And we're being candid and honest. That's why free agency is about timing.
Yeah.
You think when Saquon and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs all hit free agency, the timing was off. They hit free agency at a time when guys weren't paying running backs. Luckily for Saquon, he had such a big year. Philly was like, "Oh man, let's do right by him." But just think about it. Think about if Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs were in this free agent cycle as opposed to the previous one.
It's a
Now it's
great point.
okay to pay a running back. It's free agency is about timing.
And it's okay to pay a running back when you're a Super Bowl contender and you've got that luxury. I don't think Saquon Barkley changes much at all on the Giants, but with the Eagles, with that team, Derrick Henry with the Ravens, Josh Jacobs with the Packers, James Cook with the Bills. Yeah, I would have almost been more apt to pay James Cook than even Khalil Shakir, Greg Rousseau got 20 mil a year. we'll see how it all happens. Maybe Brandon Beane has a master plan. But you know what, Shaun? We better post this podcast so Mike Tomlin has time to really
Yeah, go
fully
ahead and get out there
digest
so we
it.
can get Jameis to Pittsburgh, man. Appreciate you having me, Tyler.
Thank you, Shaun. That was exceptional as always. Where can everybody find you? What are you up to? Let us know right now.
I'm on Twitter or X, whatever Elon changed it to, at real Shaun King. That's SHAUN. Talk to me. I
Beautiful.
talk back. All right, brother. Have a good day.
All right, Shaun. We'll see you soon, my man.